Hello my fishing friends, and welcome back to the channel. I'm your resident angling expert here to give you the ultimate forecast for the week ahead. We're talking about the truly magical period from the 13th to the 19th of October 2025 across our beloved United Kingdom. This week we've got some fascinating conditions brewing that could lead to some truly memorable catches, or, if we're not careful, a bit of a head-scratcher. So grab your brew, settle in, because I'm going to share some insider tips that will help you decipher the autumn bite and make the most of every cast. You'll learn exactly why the fish will be where they are, what they're feeding on, and how you can tempt them onto your hook. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be itching to get out there. Let's dive straight into what you can expect this week, focusing on some of the UK's most exciting species for autumn angling. First up, for those of you who love the thrill of the chase, let's talk about pike and perch. October is prime time for these freshwater predators as they really start to pile on the weight for winter. You'll find them actively hunting baitfish, which are now schooling up in more predictable patterns. Where to look? Concentrate your efforts on areas with structure. Think weed beds that are just beginning to die back, offering perfect ambush points, or drop-offs and features where depth changes abruptly. Submerged snags, fallen trees, and even boat marinas can be hotspots. Perch will often hug the bottom near these structures, while pike might patrol the edges. In my experience, deeper margins and areas of deeper water, especially those with silty bottoms, can hold concentrations of fish. What to use? For pike, a medium-heavy spinning or bait-casting setup is ideal. Lures like medium to large soft plastics, particularly those with paddle tails in natural baitfish colors or bright fire tiger patterns, can be incredibly effective. Jerkbaits and shallow diving crankbaits are also excellent choices for covering water. Don't forget a strong wire trace to prevent bite-offs. For perch, scale down your gear. A light to medium spinning rod with small spinners, micro jigs, or soft plastics on a drop-shot rig works wonders. Live baits, where permitted, such as small roach or bleak, fished under a float, can also be deadly for both. Remember, with cooler water, a slower, more deliberate retrieve can often be the key. Next, let's talk about the majestic carp tiki. Autumn is a phenomenal time for carp anglers, and many consider it the best chance to bag a personal best. The fish are in full-on feeding mode, trying to pack on calories before the lean winter months. Where to look? Carp will be seeking out natural food sources as water temperatures drop. Look for them in deeper, silty areas of lakes and reservoirs, as these spots often hold an abundance of bloodworm and other invertebrates. They'll also congregate in channels near submerged islands or on deeper shelves where they feel secure. Don't be afraid to try spots often neglected by other anglers. These can be gold mines. What to use? A reliable carp rod with a strong reel and robust mainline is essential. For bait, boilies remain a top choice, but consider smaller pellet feeders and give out less bait than in summer. Tiger nuts, corn, and even real or imitation bloodworm fished over a bed of finely chopped boilies or a small amount of ground bait can be incredibly effective. A little trick I've learned is to use critically balanced rigs or wafters, presenting your bait just off the bottom to make it easier for the carp to hoover up. Look for natural goodies that attract them in the silt. Now for you sea anglers out there. Sea bass can offer some incredible sport this week. October is considered a top month for aggressive bass as they chase down baitfish along our coastlines. Where to look? Focus on areas with strong tidal flows, such as estuaries, rocky headlands, and beaches with some swell or surf. Bass love moving water where baitfish are concentrated. Look for signs of activity like birds diving, which often indicates baitfish schools below. Mid-tides, typically 2 to 3 hours before or after high and low tide, are critical when currents are strong and bass are actively hunting. What to use? For lure fishing, which is highly effective for bass, a medium-heavy spinning rod and reel setup is perfect. Weedless, soft plastics and creature baits are excellent in estuaries, especially in cloudy water, rigged to avoid snags. On the open coast, shallow diving lures and even topwater lures can be deadly. White, black, or sparkly lures are often very effective, mimicking local baitfish like sand smelt. Fast retrieves are often crucial to match their aggressive feeding behavior. For night fishing, which can be safer and more productive for larger bass, use white, black, or sparkly lures, especially on outgoing tides in estuaries or calm coastal nights. Finally, for the river enthusiasts, let's talk about river trout and grayling. October presents a unique challenge and opportunity for fly anglers. Trout are still active, and grayling are certainly competing for food. Where to look? Trout and grayling will be found in similar habitats, often competing for food. Look for them in well-oxygenated runs, deeper pools, and areas with overhead cover or submerged structure. Grayling will often be seen rooting around the riverbed, searching for shrimps and other invertebrates. What to use? Stealth is key, my friends, as shoals are easily spooked. Use the finest tippets you dare and cast well upstream or away from your target fish, letting the current carry your offering naturally. In October, matching the hatch becomes a bit easier as there are fewer species hatching. Look for iron blue duns and large dark olives. Effective dry flies include iron blue dun patterns and Kite's imperial imitations. For subsurface fishing, which is often more productive, try nymphs like the Sawyer's pheasant tail nymph, bloodworm patterns fished close to the riverbed, and shrimp imitations. Midges, or buzzers, are also incredibly prolific and effective. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the conditions for this week, because understanding the environment is half the battle. Weather outlook. Generally, the United Kingdom can expect cool, autumnal weather. We're looking at a week mostly dominated by high pressure, especially in the first half. This usually means stable atmospheric pressure, which can be favorable for fishing. Atmospheric pressure. Expect relatively stable and high pressure for much of the week, gradually shifting towards more unsettled conditions by the weekend. Stable pressure often encourages fish to feed confidently. However, any sharp drops associated with approaching low-pressure systems can make fish switch off and move deeper. Temperature. Air temperatures will be close to normal for mid-October. Daytime highs across the UK will likely range from around 10 to 15 degrees Celsius, about 50 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit, dropping to cooler single digits at night, perhaps 3 to 10 degrees Celsius, 37 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Cooler air temperatures, especially at night, will continue to cool the water, pushing fish into deeper, more stable thermal layers. Wind. For most of the week, winds should be light to moderate, typical for high-pressure systems. However, as we approach the weekend, if low pressure moves in, we might see an increase in wind strength, potentially coming from the west. Strong winds can make bite detection difficult and stir up the water, sometimes improving predator activity, but often making fishing challenging. Precipitation. The start and middle of the week look predominantly dry for most areas, though some drizzle can't be ruled out, especially in higher ground areas of the north and southeast. As we head towards the weekend, there's a higher chance of light rain, particularly for areas like Dumfries and Galloway, with up to a 50% chance by Sunday. Persistent rain can cause rivers to rise and colour up, which can trigger feeding for some species but make others harder to locate. Water temperature trends. Water temperatures across UK lakes, rivers and coastal areas will continue their steady autumn cooling. Sea temperatures in the English Channel, for example, will average around 16 degrees Celsius, ranging from 15 to 17 degrees Celsius. In other coastal areas, you might find temperatures from around 12 to 16 degrees Celsius. This consistent cooling means fish metabolism is slowing down, but they are also acutely aware that winter is approaching, driving a strong need to feed and build reserves. Fish will often seek out areas with slightly warmer, more stable temperatures, which could be deeper parts of lakes or rivers, or sun-warmed shallows on bright days. Phase of the moon. For our forecast period, from the 13th to the 19th of October 2025, we are moving through the last quarter and into these waning crescent phases. The last quarter moon occurs on Monday, the 13th of October, at around 18 minutes past 6 in the evening UTC, with about 53% illumination. From then on, the moon's illumination will steadily decrease, heading towards the new moon on the 21st of October. In many fishing circles, the last quarter is often considered a decent time for fishing, especially for predators, as the reduced light after midnight can encourage them to hunt under the cover of darkness. As we move into the waning crescent, many anglers believe that overall fish activity might slow down slightly, but stable weather conditions can often override lunar influences. General fish activity. This time of year, friends, the general activity is all about preparation. Fish are in a feeding frenzy, building up condition for winter. Many species, especially carp and predators, are very active. While some summer species like bass and wrasse might start to thin out, the chance for larger specimens increases. Coarse fish like roach, chub, and bream are also actively feeding. This is not a time for complacency. The fish are there to be caught if you apply the right tactics. All right, let's break down the week, day by day, so you know exactly when to hit the water. Monday, the 13th of October. We start the week with a last quarter moon and generally cloudy conditions across much of the UK. Temperatures will be cool, around 10 degrees Celsius during the day, dropping to 3 degrees at night in some northern areas. The atmospheric pressure should be stable. Expect a medium to good bite, especially for carp and perch, who will be feeding steadily. Predators might be a bit cautious due to the full moon hangover, but stable pressure could encourage them. Try targeting deeper areas with natural baits or slowly worked lures. Tuesday, the 14th of October. Similar conditions to Monday, with partly cloudy skies and temperatures reaching 12 degrees Celsius. Pressure should remain stable. This day holds a good sea fishing potential. The fish will be settling into a feeding pattern. For sea bass, focus on mid-tide periods with lures. River trout and grayling should respond to nymphing tactics in clearer water. Wednesday, the 15th of October. Mostly cloudy, with temperatures around 10 degrees Celsius during the day and dropping to 2 degrees overnight in the north. Pressure continues to be stable. Expect a take good to excellent ash day. This stable high-pressure system, combined with cooling water, should trigger strong feeding. Carp will be active in silty areas and pike should be hunting aggressively in transition zones. Keep your retrieves slow but consistent. Thursday, the 16th of October. Still mostly cloudy with temperatures reaching around 11 degrees Celsius. There's still a low chance of rain across the board, maintaining generally dry conditions. Pressure should remain high and stable. This day is looking excellent. Be key for fishing. Take advantage of these consistent conditions. Focus on presenting natural baits effectively for carp and coarse fish, and don't be afraid to try larger lures for pike and big perch. For sea anglers, codling should be on the move. Friday, the 17th of October. This is where we might see a slight shift. While much of England still expects dry conditions, areas like Dumfries and Galloway have a 20% chance of light rain. Temperatures will be cooler, around 9 degrees Celsius during the day. Atmospheric pressure might begin a very slow, subtle drop as low-pressure systems are hinted for the broader outlook. The bite could be good, but a little more capricious. Fish might feel the change in the air. Focus on deeper spots and be prepared to experiment with bait and retrieve speeds. Freshwater predators might respond well to a slightly more aggressive presentation before any major weather change. Saturday, the 18th of October. A higher chance of light rain, with up to 35% in some northern areas, and temperatures dropping to around 8 degrees Celsius. This likely signals the start of more unsettled weather as predicted by the long-range forecast. Pressure will likely be falling. Expect a medium to poor day. Fish often become finicky with falling pressure and impending rain. They might feed briefly before the change, so an early morning session could be key. Look for fish holding tight to cover or in the deepest parts of the water column. For sea fishing, strong spring tides often associated with pressure changes, could still bring codling to deep water beaches at night. Sunday, the 19th of October. The end of our forecast period looks quite unsettled for some, with up to a 50% chance of light rain in areas like Dumfries and Galloway, and temperatures around 9 degrees Celsius. Pressure will likely be unsettled. This day could be toppy poor to very capricious. The fish will be reacting to the unstable weather. Your best bet is to target active predators in murky water if conditions allow, or perhaps try for a brief feeding window early in the morning or late in the afternoon. Deep water will offer the most stable conditions for shy fish. Be persistent, but manage your expectations. So there you have it, my friends, a comprehensive breakdown of the fishing conditions for the week of the 13th to the 19th of October 2025. This autumn period holds so much potential, especially if you understand the conditions and adapt your approach. Remember, every day on the water is a good day, but a day with a plan is even better. I wish you all tight lines and screaming reels. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Give this video a big thumbs up if you found it helpful, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a forecast. And tell me in the comments below, what are your plans for this week? What species are you hoping to target? And what's your go-to autumn bait or lure? Share your tips and experiences. I love hearing from you all. Until next time, stay safe out there, and may your nets be heavy.